The wind rolled over Kentucky hills like a whisper from another time. Thomas Granger stood at the edge of his ranch, a hand resting on the neck of his prize stallion, Duke. 41 years old, rugged, and far wealthier than anyone in town knew. He was content to live far from the spotlight. His fortune had come quietly. Horses, land, and an uncanny ability to predict winners at the track. But what money never bought him was companionship. Real, human, unpredictable love. He didn't expect Claire Whitmore to arrive the way she did. Heels digging into gravel, a Manhattan silk blouse streaked with sweat and frustration, and a broken-down BMW smoking behind her. "You live out here?" she asked, looking around like she'd landed on Mars. "You're on my driveway," Thomas replied, amused, "which is also 5 miles long." Claire, a 34-year-old marketing executive fleeing a career implosion and a cheating fiancé, had no idea her GPS had led her to Granger Ranch. She was en route to a remote wellness retreat, but her car had other plans. With the nearest mechanic hours away, Thomas offered her the guest house for the night. "One night," she said, eyeing the horses with suspicion. "I don't do hay." But one night turned into 3. Then a week. Claire watched Thomas work. Quiet, patient, in total sync with his animals. He watched her laugh on FaceTime with her chaotic city friends, order overpriced skincare online, and sip wine like it was a defense mechanism. And somehow, between sunrise rides and stargazing on tailgates, a spark took hold. But Thomas had secrets. One night, Claire found a newspaper clipping in a drawer in the guest house. A younger Thomas stood beside a woman with a ribbon-winning horse. The caption read, "Widowed at 28, Thomas Granger raised his record-setting foal alone." Claire asked nothing at first, but the curiosity clawed at her. One morning, she confronted him. "Why didn't you tell me about her?" He looked off into the pasture. "Because you'd see a man still haunted, and I'm tired of being that man." That was when Claire told her own truth. The retreat was a lie. She'd quit her job, dumped her fiancé after catching him in their bed with her assistant, and had been aimlessly driving when her car broke down. She didn't believe in fate, but it was getting harder not to. They kissed that night for the first time. Then the call came. A major equestrian investor, Jonathan Keene, wanted to buy one of Thomas's prize mares for 7 figures. The catch? The buyer had ties to Claire's ex, the same man who tried to poach Thomas's breeding secrets through a competitor ranch years ago. Thomas accused her of being planted. Claire stormed out. 3 days passed. Rain soaked the land. Thomas sat in the barn, drinking bourbon with Duke, unsure he'd just sabotaged the best thing he'd known since his wife died. Then Claire returned. But not alone. Behind her was Lila, a girl no older than 9, with eyes like Thomas's late wife. "This is Lila," Claire said. "Your niece." Turns out, Claire had dug deeper, not out of spite, but out of love. She discovered that Thomas's estranged brother had passed in a car crash 2 years earlier, leaving a daughter in foster care. The system had no idea Thomas existed. "You have family," Claire said gently, "and I think she needs you more than you need your walls." The silence between them broke like a dam. Thomas fell to his knees in front of Lila, eyes wide and wet. Lila, brave and observant, simply said, "You smell like horses." Weeks passed, then months. Claire didn't return to Manhattan. She sold her condo, launched a digital branding firm from the ranch, and handled Granger Ranch's image online. Lila thrived, learning to ride, to trust, to call Thomas Uncle T. And Thomas? He stopped visiting the cemetery so often. Instead, he started building a new home beside the guest house for the 3 of them. One night, as the fire crackled and Duke snorted quietly in the distance, Claire turned to Thomas. "I never imagined my life would look like this," she said. Thomas kissed her forehead. "That's the best kind of life, Claire, the one you didn't see coming." And this time, nothing went wrong. The summer deepened, and the routines on Granger Ranch adjusted. Claire, now far from the buzz of boardrooms and skyscrapers, found herself waking before dawn, brushing the manes of horses she once feared, and laughing when Lila tried to imitate Thomas's serious drawl. But not everything was smooth. Claire's former boss, Vanessa Hall, caught wind of her new life through mutual contacts. Vanessa had always resented Claire's talent, and now she wanted to buy Granger Ranch's digital rights for a Western lifestyle campaign. The offer? $3 million and full creative control. Claire refused without hesitation. Then one evening, Vanessa herself showed up on the ranch. In heels. With documents. "This place is cute," she sneered. "You really traded the skyline for cow poop and denim?" Claire stood firm. "You should leave." But Thomas overheard, and that old suspicion in his eyes returned, even if just for a second. Later that night, Claire confronted him. "You still don't trust me?" she asked, heart heavy. "I want to, but people keep showing up from your old life, and every time they do, something breaks." She walked out, not in anger, but in pain. Again, that night, it rained hard. Thunder rolled over the fields. Lila woke up from a nightmare and wandered into barn, where Duke was pacing. She opened the gate, trying to calm him, as Thomas frantically searched for her in the storm. When he found her, soaked and trembling, he fell to his knees again, this time out of gratitude. Claire returned the next morning with breakfast and a quiet apology, but Thomas beat her to it. "You never gave me a reason not to trust you. I was just afraid to lose what I finally had again." They stood in silence, Lila asleep in the guest house. Claire reached into her coat and handed him a small envelope. Inside was a printed email confirming Claire had rejected the $3 million deal, with a note scrawled across the bottom. "What I found here is worth more." Thomas didn't say anything at first. Instead, he walked over to the horse paddock and picked up a small wooden box. Inside was a ring, not new but lovingly restored. It had belonged to his mother. "Claire Whitmore," he said, returning to her. "Will you build this life with me?" Walls down, hands dirty, hearts wide open. Claire smiled. "I already am." The wedding happened on the ranch, under an arch made of wildflowers and hay bales. Lila was a flower girl. Duke wore a garland, and half the county showed up. Some to celebrate, others just to finally get a peek at the mysterious Granger's bride. At the reception, Claire gave a speech. "I came here by accident, or maybe by fate. But the thing about horses, love, and life out here is that none of it is predictable. And thank God for that." Cheers rose. Thomas raised his glass. "To the woman who brought color back into this land, and to the girl who reminded me how to hope again." As the stars spread across the sky, the music swelled, and Lila danced in circles, laughing louder than she ever had before. Because sometimes the life that finds you after everything falls apart is the one that was meant to be all along.